Here are the headlines this hour. More violence erupts in Tunisia as a government curfew fails to stop the unrest. Tragedy in Brazil as floods and mudslides devastate several towns near Rio de Janeiro.
And EU leaders clash over whether to expand the EU's bailout fund.
Reports are coming in that another 4 people were killed overnight in clashes between police and protesters in Tunisia. It happened when demonstrators defied a curfew aimed at stopping the violence. There are conflicting reports over the number of dead. The government puts the toll at 23, but human rights groups say 50 people have died. The UN is urging the government in Tunis to investigate the killings. Well, now to Lebanon's political crisis. Talks on forming a new government are set to begin on Monday, and that will include appointing a new prime minister. Prime Minister Saad Hariri's government collapsed on Wednesday when Hezbollah members of his cabinet resigned. We have more from Beirut. Well, I spoke with Birgit Kaspar. She's our correspondent in Beirut, and I began by asking her what is behind the resignations of Hezbollah from the government. Okay, Birgit Kaspar reporting for us from Beirut. Thank you, Birgit. Well, it is being called one of the worst natural disasters to hit Brazil in decades. At least 356 people have died in floods and landslides that have devastated several mountain towns around Rio de Janeiro. And that figure looks set to rise. Rescue workers are struggling to reach the area because many roads have been destroyed. Many of the victims were killed as they slept. In Australia, Queensland officials say that they are waiting for daybreak to begin surveying the destruction from floodwaters that have begun receding. The inundation of Brisbane was not as bad as expected, but the death toll has risen to 15 and 61 people remain missing. All right, Monica is here with business, and the world has been tapping into Europe's bond market a lot this week.
That is right, Brent.
Sales grew by just 3%, far below analysts' expectations.
And for more news now, back to Brent.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out if you're going to like or not like the iPad. Let people, let people sit in and email and let us know. All right, thank you, Monica. U.S. President Barack Obama has called on Americans to stop pointing fingers and to begin listening to each other. He spoke Wednesday at a memorial service in Arizona for the 6 people killed during an assassination attempt on Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. Here's part of what he had to say in Tucson. That was U.S. President Barack Obama speaking there. Well, a barge loaded with sulfuric acid has capsized on Germany's Rhine River. Authorities have stopped all traffic on the Rhine, which is Europe's busiest waterway. Authorities say they've temporarily secured the 100-meter-long ship and that none of the poisonous acid is leaking. 2 crew members were rescued from the water, but 2 are still missing. The search for them has been hampered by the river's strong currents. That's a leftover from recent flooding. The cause of the accident is not known yet. All right, some sports news now, and the latest in the Dakar Rally. Drivers completed the longest leg of this year's race on Wednesday from Copiapo over the Andes Mountains to Chilecito in Argentina. That's 862 kilometers. Race leader Nasser Al-Attiyah of Qatar and his German co-driver Timo Gottschalk expanded their overall lead to more than 12 minutes. Fellow VW driver Spain's Carlos Sainz made it a bit easier for them by getting stuck in a sand dune. I think he's paid not to do that.
Yeah, he was nice to them.
Monica's back in 1 minute. Stay with us.
Don't go away.